Welcome, Denise. Rory. Yeah, you can see I'm working today. I had to go and try and get a little something to eat, and I even forgot my that I was running late. I was like, man, I gotta get something in this belly. So, are you interested in doing your own webinar? So yeah, I'm going to share it in my group. So how are things? We can talk before we get started. I get started.
Now I'm unmuted. How or what?
Are you at work?
No, I'm gonna go take the birds though and move them in the other room because they won't let me.
I'm like you in a tropical forest.
I know it's true.
You sound like Ace Ventura. Remember that there's a movie called Ace Ventura. Oh my goodness.
It's only wait, I'm trying to get my picture up. I can't get my picture. But it's only
You
two
have
little.
to turn on your camera.
I know I'm looking because this is different.
Okay,
Usually
yeah. This is the oh, it doesn't have it. Okay, this is the
it has the mute, but it doesn't have the video. Down at the bottom, I can usually.
yeah. I'm trying to. I don't. You may not be able to do it. This is the different. This is a webinar infrastructure, and that's one thing that I. That's one of the things I see a picture though.
You see
I
a
see
picture?
a picture. Yeah, I see a
That's
picture of you
my
sitting on
brother.
a sitting
My
on a.
brother and my sister. They're both passed, and
Okay.
that's me in the middle.
Okay. Well, I can't see it very well because it's not close. But yeah,
Oh,
you sound like you in a forest, man.
I know. And every time, and what happens usually is I'm talking and like when you have children, my brother has children. When you have children, and you just get used to it, so they can be really loud and you don't even hear it and people are looking at you like why don't you do something with those children and you're not even and finally you become aware that that the noise level has reached that and that's what happens with me with them is that I start out they get louder I get louder because I'm not thinking about and finally I'm yelling and I realize I'm yelling and I'm like, what? This is ridiculous. So sometimes I cover them, but now they're getting to where they talk even when I cover. I'm going to try covering them. Because I feel guilty because then, um, I feel they're very social birds. And so when I ignore them or cover them up, I feel really badly because they're wanting to communicate. But sometimes it's not even with me. Sometimes I don't know what they get into an argument among themselves, or maybe they're just excited. But they just start going.
Hey, maybe there's a lot of stuff going on in the hood, man. They don't.
You know,
There's some stuff going on. They gotta share it.
not that they don't. I have a pole and I can hang them. And I keep saying I'm going to take them, outside when it's warm and just sit out on the porch with them because they never get to go anywhere. They have no idea. And then every once in a while they get out, and then I have fans on. So now I've got to close down the fans, and they don't know how to fly, so they bang up against the wall, and they'll fly behind the furniture. So now I've got to, really, I say to them, you're not working, you're not bringing in anything. Why are you so much trouble?
About to
I
go
think.
live on
How many people signed up? Now this is a
no.
webinar.
The first one was like 5 people
Uh
signed
huh.
up, and this one is about 5 people.
Okay.
These are the first ones I've done of these types. So the main thing is to try and get them done and record them. And then once you record them, then you can use, like you can see from the last one, that lady is a big, that's the only person that came apart from you, but she's a doctor. She's right in the, she even works for a very big hospital here
Mm. I
in
thought you said she was in Ethiopia.
She was. So
Oh,
they, yeah, they can't run to one of the big hospitals here. They're here doing it, man. Everybody's here doing it.
in
So,
Boston? But you're in Boston, aren't you?
yep,
So she's in Ethiopia running a big hospital in Boston.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So we're now going to hook up and talk about how we can take this program. She knows all the people that are running the program. See, this even she knew the people that were running this that I got
Hmm.
from that hospital.
I should get one. I mean, I don't go anywhere except
Well,
really.
I didn't even ask for this one. They just, well, I asked for it. What they did was that this COVID-19 test,
Hmm.
they said that they just, like they said, you went to your, that, you go to this hospital, so there's a COVID-19 test
Hmm.
and you want it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I want it. So they sent it to me in the mail. So it's
Oh
not really like, it's like an experimental,
no.
thing that they're trying to do. So what I'm just saying is, like, that is kind of, like, if I can get that program linked up with one of them,
Hmm.
that's going to be huge. So you got to do it. You got to just do the program. And so, like, so that's what I was telling you about your Zoom, your webinar. Sometimes you just got to put it out there,
Yeah.
host some events, and then people will start knowing what it is that you do.
Right.
They'll start knowing, but you've got to present yourself. Like, you can even see now I got my little, like this. This is new. You see, this is a
Yeah.
little little African
I was
picture.
noticing that on the last one. I was saying, oh, that's nice.
Exactly. So, hey, it's just part of the, it's part of the thing. I'm sitting here in my shorts, but I got my
Okay.
shirt on.
Yeah.
So, but but you can't do it with the birds. You can't do it
No,
with the birds,
I
bro.
know. I know,
The birds can't have a webinar too. They can have their own separate webinar, but when you're doing your webinar, you can't have them. So anyway, we're broadcasting live. So I'm about to actually get started with the actual program, even though it's
and I've
oh,
covered
yeah,
them.
and we have another person that's joined. So
Okay.
welcome, Mapati. Will start very shortly. I know we're
Okay, I'm gonna
late.
go get my lemon water. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. All right. So we haven't really gotten started. So because I was with my friend. So let me share. All right. All right. I think we can get started now. Time is it? 3:10, 11. All right. Welcome everybody to hosting a Zoom webinar by Afro-American One. My name is Marlon Solomon. I am the founder and CEO of the Afro-American Culture Initiative. It's a Boston-based nonprofit organization. Our mission is to build cultural bridges in the African diaspora through education, technology, and travel. We provide, in essence, our own brand of cultural competency. It is culminating this by the beginning of this year in our Afro-American Academy, which is our online school. where we have a whole plethora of African diaspora cultural education, including our financial literacy and entrepreneurship series. So this is this is our first pilot on this financial literacy and entrepreneurship series. So I am an entrepreneur, as you can tell, and I've been doing this. I'm a civil engineer. I used to have a project management firm in Nigeria. So I have been in the professional field for 15, 20 years, consulting, doing my own uh, business. And I founded this organization in 2015. And so it has a cultural side, but we started realizing that for our overall mission, we needed to fill in a lot of gaps that we are finding and be a source of cultural education as well as practical education. And everything is going to be through the eyes of the African diaspora, people of color that, for however we got here. So we're going to get started right now. And they're hosting a Zoom webinar. It's not, I know some people may not look at it as just, okay, well, I mean, I do Zoom all the time. What is so different? I mean, I can do this. You can do it. Of course, I learned how to do it, but I got this Zoom webinar platform under my organization and I started working with it. And I started realizing it's a little different and it's just not the same. And it's designed for professional output, right? We want you to be able to express yourself, present yourself, and Zoom is the new normal. So I decided to put this together as part of the entrepreneurship series to help people that are starting their businesses or wanting to get into hosting webinars for whatever topic that you want to host it for. We felt that providing a service to the community that will allow people to get better at it, learn the platform. The platform is not cheap. It costs $40, $40 a month. And that's even plus your normal $14.99. So let's say you want to do 100 people, it's $199 for $14.99 for your normal Zoom webinar. Then if you want to do it at if you want to do it for 15, then if you want to now do the webinar platform, that's $40 on top of that. So I pay about $58 every month for both, right? And this is so you can host meetings and so you can do webinars. So it is a costly thing, and we feel that we should give you at least opportunity to practice, do the right thing, and all that other stuff before you start investing. All right. So I want to welcome you. We have a poll feature that we're going to show. And that's one of the features that it has that you don't have in the meetings. And we have a survey at the end. We'll go into all that, as well as there's a question and answer section. So if you have any questions, we'll answer the questions in the question and answers before we get to any verbal. And raise your hands to speak, okay? Live, love, and learn. So like one of the things that, like before I get started, I just wanted you to notice like how I'm standing here and I've got my background, nothing too, crazy. It's African print. It's a very actually nice piece. And I put it back there, because of course I'm doing a lot of African diaspora stuff. So I like it because it makes me look like I am in a village. But this is all part of the presentation, right? Talking clear, making sure there's light in front of you. These are just the basics, right? Making sure you're centered within the picture, not having your, like your head, like this, or, not being all up like this, or, if you have glasses, sometimes I can't help it. You're going to see the reflection on my glasses. There was actually a cool feature that I actually want to show you guys. And this is on meeting 2, I believe, but you've got to download it. I just did a contact tracing webinar, and it has these it has these filters now. So now I've got my mask. So I want to say everybody should wear a mask, right? Wash your hands, socially distance, and contact trace. Know who you've talked about, know who you've been around for the last 2 days. So if anything happens, you know who to contact. So that's my little thing that I'm doing now to add a little bit of, comedy, using one of the features, and sending a good message, please. COVID-19 is on the rampage. All right. So the objectives, of course, is to learn about the basic components to a webinar and the webinar structure. We're going to be talking about hosting key webinar features, like some of the ones I've shown you, and then the business of webinars, right? Because in the end of the day, it is a costly venture, and you want to make you want to, if you're paying money, $68 every month, you want to have a good plan in place before you go in hand, and that's what we want to hopefully be able to provide you, services on this. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what's the difference between meeting, Google Meeting, and a Google Webinar. Okay. Of course, we need you to know the difference, so you'll know all the different things that you can and can't do.
So what's the difference between a Zoom meeting and a Zoom webinar? There's different features, and based on what you're trying to do and the audience you're connecting with, it depends. Hey there, this is Darren LaCroix. I've been training literally tens of thousands of presenters virtually around the world. So I want to show you the difference, and I kind of learned this along the way, and see which one is better for your audiences. For some of mine, I do meetings, and for some of mine, I do webinars. So I use both features a lot. What does it look like? Let's check it out. So meetings versus webinars, what's the difference? Let's start with webinars. Webinars give you more control. Only the panelists are seen. So this allows you to have 2 or 3 panelists, yet hundreds or 1,000 people watching, but we only see the panelists. You can have several panelists, you can do polls, or you can do chat. Also, Q&A only available on webinars. On the other side, meetings. Meetings, there's more to control. Now you can shut off and mute everyone or not. You can not let them turn their mics on, but you've got a lot more people to control. You have to make sure they're muted. They're not muted. So you have to kind of keep an eye on everything, and sometimes people can do appropriate things. Now in meetings, all are seen and then can be heard if you allow it. There are no panelists for this. You can still do polls. The coolest thing is breakout rooms. Do breakout rooms if you have trainings. It's such a powerful tool. Check out my YouTube video, both of them on breakout rooms. Obviously, you can do chat here, and you can even share files in the chat. There's a little button that pops up, just click on that, and you can share a PDF. So sometimes when I start my events, I'll give them the guide, and not everyone got it ahead of time or had time to print it out. So you want to be able to keep the flow going. So you can literally click on the PDF, upload it, boom, they have it. Or if there's something you're doing as you go along that you want to share, really easy to do in meetings. You can't do that in webinars. So the things that are bold, those are the things that are different in each of them. Hope that helps. So that's the difference between a meeting and a webinar. For you and the engagement you're trying to get, what works best? And I highly recommend test it, try the different ones and see which works. Be willing to make a few mistakes, and then you'll get it. You'll know from experience what definitely works best for your audience.
So you can see, like, this is why we started opening up, why we started this program, was because obviously you have to experiment, you have to try it. And we want to provide you that service, right? And help you along the way, right? Before you get to that level. So once you make that commitment, at least you've learned the do's and don'ts. Okay? See what works for your audience. This, when I always compare it,
So what's the difference between a
I compare it, right? A Zoom webinar, it's kind of like, it's more professional, right? Because obviously, like even things like you have to register to get on there, you get your emails with the reminders, all those things are done by the infrastructure, okay? And then, but you know, you're kind of like a DJ. That's where I would like you to start moving. You're like a DJ. You can do music on here. I like sometimes at the beginning of webinar, depending on the kind of webinar it is, if it's an evening webinar, I would play some nice Sade before we get started, right? And then I'm playing the videos. I'm going in and out of videos. I'm planning out my presentation. I've got notes, you know, of what I'm going to say or the points I want to hit, right? So you've got to start, and that will help you envelop your own personal charisma, your own personal jokes, relax, how you take people along the journey, because that's what it is, right? It's kind of like taking somebody on a journey. Now, first thing I want to start out with the basics of a webinar, right? So the basic things that go into just a general, like the format, so now we're going to leave the infrastructure, talk just about, because you have to come up with your topics, you have ideas and things you want to do. Now, does your webinar topic educate, discuss, or solve a problem, right? If it needs to be doing one of these things, because you have to give people a reason they want to come. They might want to educate themselves. They may want to just have a discussion, right? That's very big. Just getting, I have one that I'm doing in that format where people are going to come and they're just going to talk about a topic, and we have 2 or 3 different people. I'll ask them certain questions, they'll answer, and then we'll let people give in their opinion. A whole different ball of wax, right? Or does it solve a problem like this one, where we are trying to help people solve a problem of, I want to start webinars, but I don't know how to do them. This is a solution. So those are kind of like the things when you're looking for a topic, right? And like I said, with the formats, what topic works? Which one of these works for your topic? What kind of format do you want to? Would you have a discussion panel? This one is just really about education, right? Solving a problem. I don't want a discussion panel. I want to talk to you guys directly. I've got a lot to impart in 1 hour, but I can now allow people to talk at the end, right? But if it's a discussion piece, I'm not going to really be saying much. There's going to be like 5 other people there, and it's going to be less slides, right? That's another thing. Your webinar content will now have to fit your format. So like if I have an education thing, I'm going to have a lot of slides, right? Which now entails I may need to have breaks. I have different features I'm trying to show. You have to think of all those little parts as you're developing your content, right? And then you also need to think about post-webinar stuff, right? So like, let's say there's resources, right? Let's say there's a resource. Sometimes I provide a resource page. I'll give you the resource page. I'll give you the link. So tomorrow you'll see an email from me. What I usually say is like post-event is that tomorrow you'll see an email from me. It'll have the video, if it's one that I share the video. You don't have to share every video, right? If the video is be on YouTube, it'll have certain, it'll have a survey, it'll have a link to resources that I use. Like some people want to see the videos that you use. So, okay, yeah, they're YouTube. I give you the links. Why not? Right? A little reward for coming to your to your webinar, right? Sorry. So when you now move through these things, you've got to start thinking about things like in the format. You have to think about things like the hour, right? How long is it going to be, right? Do you have time for late comers, or like I said, it may have no slides, right? You may have to even, like I said, there may be videos. How long are your videos going to be? You may have to time that, right? There, you do need breaks in like the movies and things to keep it exciting. All these things are the base that make up your basic components, and it takes practice to get this going. Okay. Now, when you're hosting the Zoom webinar, right? They are, there's registration things that you have to do, right? These are some of the features that I was talking about. You have registration, which now gives a more sense of professionalism and collection of the emails, right? When you do these webinars, people are putting in their email, right? At least you gain it serves as a good way, a great way, in fact, to increase your reach, because people want to hear, oh, when's the next event? And of course, that post-event email definitely has some of the information of the next event that I'm doing. Then, of course, this happens a lot. People now screen share, right? And they have the sound share, and they forget the sound share, and they hit a video. I'm sure this has happened to everybody. You got to do that when you have videos, because when you do that, it gives everybody a chance to hear it clearly. Some people are in their car, they're just listening on their Bluetooth, right? So it comes out just as clear when you share a computer sound. You have to be careful, right? You don't want to, you definitely do not want to have like sounds. So I actually left my notification sounds on. So if it comes up, you would hear what I hear, but I try to turn it off for other events. I hope one comes up. But if you get a notification, everybody will hear that too. So you have to be careful. Okay. Now, recording, broadcasting, and streaming live. This is available on everything. Oh, and okay, sorry, this picture, if you can see this picture here, you can see that the picture here, you can see that the share screen button is there. Okay. Now that share computer sound, that's where you hit the button. If you don't do that, the sound that when you play a video will have to be going through your mic. So, and people won't be able to hear it well, but that's where the sound is. And of course, everybody should know how to share the screen. You click on the screen and you click the share button, which is down here. All right. For those who don't know. But anyway, then when you go, the next thing you can do is record, broadcast, and stream live. That's a whole nother set of things. I am streaming live right now on Afrimerican Vibes, my Facebook. You can stream to Facebook and YouTube, right? You can record on you can record to the cloud. There's a cloud feature where you can record or you can record to your computer, right? There's so many different features. I mean, it really gives you a lot of options to host your webinar, store the information. There's a lot of automation, like pre-event reminders. There's panelist emails. There's attendee support. There's even link and register pages, right? All these things really help give you a professional feel to your presentation, puts it in a whole nother category. Polls and surveys. Getting feedback is extremely vital. So I have a survey thing with SurveyMonkey, right? Which is a third-party survey. You can put your third-party survey. Maybe it's going to be Google Forms. You can put a link in the webinar platform. And we'll all show you this, when you want to do some more intense coaching. But there's so many features that help you integrate with other examples of, other programs. It has a lot of educational features that you have to do. So now for once, I'm going to even launch, we have some polls right here, and I'm going to launch the poll for this webinar. And as you can see, by launching the polls for this webinar, you can see that we have about 10 questions, allows you to do 10 questions and put in your poll. So I would like you to answer these polls, right? And I'll show you a feature when we get done. So for surveys and polls is a great way of getting information back from your audience, right? So like I just launched the poll. You launch it during the meeting. It's sometimes you have to forget. You can forget that. And people are going to take a few minutes and answer some questions that you want, and sometimes entertaining, because you're going to show everybody. And it's anonymous, so people are not going to know if you poll that, oh, this person voted for this or this person said that. It's just a general. It's going to give you percentages, and it's going to give you percentages of how people in the audience answered particular questions. So it gives a little interesting, right? The surveys can be inside the infrastructure of Zoom, or it can be, like I said, a third party, like SurveyMonkey, where you have a separate, you do the form separate and you link it to. So survey will also be emailed to your, will also be emailed to you to post your post webinar email. I do that all the time. So when you send that, thank you for coming. Here's your, here's your video. It was a real pleasure having you there. Here are our next events. You also send them the survey. Please send out this survey, right? I mean, please fill out this survey. These feedback really help our outcomes, right? Then, so this is how it looks to put in the survey questions in the infrastructure. This is where you put your name. This is where you put the actual question, right? You can choose if it's single or multiple choice. So that means that can people choose only one answer or multiple answers. So you put in your question, how do you like this webinar? And you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 options. Oh, I love it. Great. Or whatever the different options are. And people will be able to choose. And then you add next question here. When you get done with your 10 questions, you save and you've got a poll. So let us see actually what I'm going to stop the poll. Nobody has answered anything. Has anybody answered anything? Can you guys fill out your poll? Okay, I'm going to leave it on there. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the business of webinars. Okay. Now the business of webinars, you're given a professional presentation. You definitely want to work on things like your timing. You want to practice, you want to have webinar notes, right? Because these are professional presentations. You've got to really work at it so that you can give, straightforward, you can give real straightforward presentations. Like for instance, this one is actually a bit new to me. So it's going to take me a while to get used to some of the material. But I've had, so I'm not doing as fluidly. I think I'm doing okay, but at least I'm not doing as fluently as I would, like if I'm doing some of my African diaspora information stuff where I've done those slides 100 times over, right? But that's why we need to work on this thing together, right? You need to practice, you need to record yourself, see how you sound, right? Watch your own videos, see what you could do better, right? Then there's the social media and branding, right? You need to have what we call blurbs, right? Which are like little, little information. Join us this evening for an evening of great excitement. We're going to be learning about, and you have this little blurb, and it's good to put the same blurb on your Instagram, on your Facebook, right? On all the different little things, so that, you start looking very, very professional, right? Some of the advertising you're going to do, there are things to do with even the size of your picture that you put on Instagram, because squares tend to work better on square formatted pictures, work on, they work on different, so advertising your webinar, you have to have like, really catchy graphics. You want, and it needs to fit the, the format. Maybe if it's on Instagram, it needs to look like, a nice picture on Instagram, right? These are things you got to work on, because you got to build up a lot of people coming to your webinar. Don't get discouraged. A lot of things like timing. What time of the day are you doing it? When, what works better? There are a lot of different aspects, but you've got to do it in order to get it. And just like anything you do, sometimes you're just not going to have people. Sometimes I have 40 people. Sometimes and I think I got it. Oh, this is the reason how. Sometimes it's just people that's not going to be doing things that day. Sometimes I've had the one we had yesterday. We had 100 people. In fact, we sold out. There was no way to get a ticket. But then today, there's not that many. It's also the topic. There are a lot of dynamics to your, to your the music. I mean, putting these things together. Then there comes your application integrations. Zoom as a business, it links to Eventbrite, it links to Facebook, it links to YouTube. There are even integration apps like Zapier that help you, like if you get attendees, if people get a ticket on Eventbrite, how does it transfer over to your to register in your Zoom webinar platform. You can use just your Zoom webinar platform, but using Eventbrite has the advantage of a lot of people on Eventbrite. So if you do it on your webinar platform and just say you have that, I mean, everybody that comes somehow has to go through you. But if you put it on Eventbrite, you get just people that maybe were just looking for something. Oh, that looks like a great thing. I'll go to that, right? So using the applications and different methods, it's up to you to pick the ones that you like. Now, of course, a lot of the times you have to, you probably want people to pay. Maybe even if it's just $5 or some are very professional. You have to do it like $20, $30. I've done the one that was $10 for my engineering one, and I had like 35 people. There's some that are free and nobody wants to come. Without, especially like something like the COVID awareness. I don't know if a lot of people are going to come unless it's like one of the people that came, she was a doctor and she's in the COVID testing thing. So she was interested in the concept of what we did. So she came because it was kind of professional. So there's some, depending on what you're doing, but there's even like so the kinds of tickets you can give, you can have free tickets, right? You can have paid ticket, like maybe $5, right? Or, like I said, I've done the most expensive ticket I had was $10. And then you can have even donations where anybody can come free. Like this one is anybody can come free, but if you like what you saw, you can donate, right? And that's also another way. You may not make a little money, but hey, like I've done one where just a few people came, but yeah, I got like $26. It goes towards my $58 that I'm paying every month for the service, right? So this is very, if I do if I do 3 of those and I get $26 when I get $75, guess what? I've just paid for my business, and maybe I didn't make any money, but at least my actual Zoom webinar is paying for itself, right? If that's, I mean, there may be other things you're paying for, but I'm just, like I do I have to pay for a YouTube because I have to pay for YouTube because when I press play on this video, I don't want you to see any ads. So these are some of the tricks of the trade that you have to do. So there's a big investment, kind of, by the time you add everything up together, it gets way more than the 50. You maybe $100, $150 to get the whole thing together. Now, how are you going to fund that? That's where you can come to me and you can maybe do a webinar for a little bit. I can help you get your webinar off the ground. We'll advertise it, right? And then you don't have to pay. You can pay maybe one time something, but you don't have to pay for consistently because you have to do a lot of webinars to get, to pay for the thing. You may not have that content. So, think about that.
First on our list is Zoom. Many of you are probably familiar with Zoom as a digital meeting platform, but it can also be used as and has a specific add-on for webinars. You can use Zoom as a webinar platform with or without the webinar add-on, but the webinar add-on unlocks additional features you may want. First, I'll talk about Zoom without the add-on. Zoom has 4 different pricing plans based on your needs. Basic, which is free, allows up to 100 participants with a time limit of 40 minutes per session. Pro is $14.99 per month and also allows up to 100 participants. Business is $19.99 per month and allows up to 300 participants. And Enterprise is $19.99 per month or more depending on any number of participants above 500. Each of the paid plans has a time limit of 24 hours per session, and every plan gives you the ability to record and share a playback of your webinar. The webinar add-on is an additional $40 per month or more depending on the desired number of webinar participants, and allows 100 participants at the lowest price point. This add-on also unlocks a handful of useful features like the ability to charge for access, registration and reporting, audience polling and live chat, and the ability to live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Even if you don't have the webinar add-on, as long as you have the Pro plan or higher, you can live stream to Facebook or YouTube. But if it's important for you to have the ability to collect payment from your attendees, and if you want access to the additional webinar features, the webinar add-on is the way to go. Zoom can be a great solution for your business if you're looking for something that doesn't have a lot of advanced features, but is affordable.
So, there's, when it even gets further. So now think about, now we want to drive business, right? So one of our things that we're doing, like once we get a lot of people trained up on webinars and they want to do webinars, maybe they just want to do one webinar for Christmas, right? They'll book a time, right? We're going to now, try to see based on their budget or whatever, how best we can advertise, right, the platform, and then you will be able to get people hopefully from that, as long as also your people to help you with your own personal advertising, right? Because guess what, we can advertise on Facebook, we can advertise on Instagram. It does cost, right? So you've got to really be creative. You've got to be able to hold a be confident, hold your honor, and work your craft. It is not just, it's not just easy like that. So now, for instance, this is the second one that we're doing in our financial literacy and entrepreneurship, right? And this is the financial literacy portion, right? I'm pretty much doing the entrepreneurship, and my other board members, Shupal Kende and Dapo Alagbaju, are doing the financial literacy and entrepreneurship series, right? Now I'm the one handling the infrastructure, right? But they, and we made I made this flyer, which I think is, very simple, very clear. You can see exactly what is going on here, right? And it's over our Thanksgiving Day. It's part of our Thanksgiving Day lineup, right? And now we've got to advertise this. We got to put this out there, right? It's got our logo. It looks professional. You saw the one that brought you here today. This is also another angle to it, right? So you've got it. You got to when you're doing your webinars, you got to have and this is going to be more of a discussion forum. This is not going to be education. This is going to be some questions asked, and they're going to so there won't be a whole bunch of slides, right? So these are some of the things that we just wanted to bring you. So I wanted to show you this because I wanted you to obviously see. And hey, if you can make it, please do. We just want you to see, like, another option of a webinar. And if you go to our website, you go to afrimerican1.eventbrite.com, you can see all our events that we have scheduled. All right. So now we're kind of, we're at the end. I really want to get your questions and if you have any, or just your comments on this program, and maybe, how best you think we can make it better. What else can we do? Let me see what. Nobody has voted for anything. Okay, I don't know why, but these questions were designed to help everybody just kind of understand the different aspects of the webinar, right? The questions were like, what features are offered in Zoom meetings and not webinar platforms, right? So if ability to register, that was That's one of them, you know. So polls and surveys, yeah, that's another one. All right. Ability to share screen and sound. Well, that's in both. So animated reminders, okay, that's only in webinar. Panelists, that's only a webinar. Okay, so basically the answer is C. So that's kind of what the polling is all about, and it's a great feature to use. What I'm going to do now, we don't have any questions, so you guys will get an email with the resources, with a survey, any videos that we use during this presentation. You guys will get that. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I'm going to open up the floor to speak. Okay, Denise raised her hand to speak. So let me.
Just wondering, could you, I tried taking that poll and actually, and then it just kind of disappeared, and I'm kind of glad because I didn't get too many.
You didn't get it? Okay.
No, I missed a couple, so I was glad that it disappeared. But
Well, it's okay. It's
but
okay.
it would
So,
be nice if you could include that too.
well, the only, that's one thing. That is one feature of the poll. The poll, I can only launch it here. I can't even see the answers after I'm done.
Oh,
So I could relaunch it, right? So I've
uh-huh.
relaunched it again. So if you
Okay.
answer it, it will now show, but it's only going to show to us. It's not going to show to, it's not like going to show to everybody, right?
Well, the
Uh,
first one kind of confused me because it said what features are offered in Zoom meetings, not
yes.
in Zoom webinar platforms. And I guess I put ability to share screen and sound because I thought it was Zoom meetings. But
Yeah, well, exactly. So yes, that's the right answer. That's the right answer
oh,
because
okay.
it said what features are offered in the Zoom meetings that
Right,
are not
right.
offered in the Zoom webinar platform.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
So
got it wrong.
or, and then well, so then the ability to share screen and sound is what's offered in the Zoom meeting. Then the
Okay.
next one is which one of the following components are, all the rest are in both. Sorry, all the rest of those no, a register is just in Zoom webinar, polls are just in Zoom webinar, automated reminders are just in Zoom webinar, panelists are just in Zoom webinar. Ability to share screen and sound is in both. So yeah,
Yeah. I had
you got it. You got it.
all
See,
of the
you got to give yourself some credit now.
well, I'm glad because I'd answered it wrong.
Oh, you
I
got
thought when you were going through it, I had answered it wrong, but I did no, I got them. The ones that I did answer, I got
That's
right.
nice, nice,
Well,
nice.
okay. Full disclosure, I did take notes,
No,
and
you
so
have to. No, that's what this is
I
about. I
wrote
mean,
it down. So
you're going to get a video. You're going to get a video with this.
it was an open
So,
book.
and this is, like I said, this is my video that, and hopefully, but of course, the presentation and the video, you need to also see and talk to the person and ask questions like you're doing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and also, this is how I want to like build the business. So, obviously, yeah, you could watch the video, but people would also want to, attend, or they want to, like, because they may need more developing, or they just want us to host it. Because remember, you still, to do a webinar, you're going to have to, pay out the $50, right? Or
Yeah.
$60,
Yeah.
and so like, well, I don't want to do that. Let me just pay one time, and do my one webinar, see how that goes before I start investing into because to get the platform costs money, right? To advertise it costs money, to get your business off the ground. So
Right.
this offers another option, to help you, get your webinar business, or whatever, maybe your webinar aspect of your
Hmm.
existing business. So I've been approached, like, there's a lady that wants to do like hair, like she does dreadlocks. So she wants to have a little discussion on, the African cultural significance of dreadlocks,
Hmm.
right? So that's kind of like a one-off, right? And she wants to record it, she wants all those things, but she doesn't want to go through the whole, she doesn't want to, like, go and get a Zoom webinar. She'll probably, and if she does just a normal Zoom meeting, it may not be as, professional as she wants it to be.
Right.
Right. So to work with her, like now we've got to do research. We've got to, find maybe some videos about, webinars, this and that. There's a lot of development. So for a little package, she could pay for that. And at least it'll be a little expensive to get at least one done, but she'll have one done. It's recording. It's, you get what I'm saying? Like, and it's one and done. You can use that until you need to do it again. She may not need to do 100, she may not need to do 100 webinars, she just needs to do one. And then that will help her now gain customers, right? I will put her information up there and people will be going to her website and people will be going to her, her business. So Mopati Janki, sir, where are you from? Can we get you? I've unmuted you. Well, I've asked you to unmute. If you'd like to share something, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I'm from Botswana.
Ah, Botswana. Nice. I had a friend, a childhood friend that his mom was from Botswana.
Okay, that's good.
In Nigeria, when I lived when I was a child. So how are you, sir? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm good.
So any comments, this, with this kind of format and trying to, I'm trying to develop this service, to help people. And I'm very thinking about, because I don't know if you know, but before this, I did a COVID-19 webinar where I was doing information about COVID-19, especially in African diaspora communities. So to help our communities even fight it, I definitely need people from different cultures to come and do webinars teaching the COVID-19 information in different cultures. So I'm interested to hear your feedback, in different languages,
Okay, just send me an email. I'll look at it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, for the COVID-19. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
No problem. No, I'll definitely do it. Or you can go to YouTube. I'll have the video up there maybe by another week or two.
Okay.
No, sorry, wait, another day.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So your feedback on the program, and maybe
Okay.
how you see you could maybe if you want to partake in any of the things. Do you have any webinars you want to do?
Yeah, not right now. I'm just googling around. Then I saw this event. I say, let me just look at it.
Okay,
Yes.
nice. Has it given you any ideas?
Yeah, it's good. I think it was good. Yeah, it was good. I mean, especially in terms of the overall advertising part. I mean,
Yeah. I tried to make it so that it's not just about the Zoom webinar.
Yeah, it's more
about
broad. Yeah.
Somebody that wants to do a business. How do you,
Yeah.
there are many aspects.
Yeah, I like the advertising part of it. I mean,
Okay, great. Yeah. So I mean, those are just things, I use like Google Slides, or you can hire somebody to do it. It takes a lot of practice to, to do some of these things, but you can hire people to do it, or if you have your own. Do you have your own business, sir?
No, yes and no.
You have a little hustle.
Yes.
You're hustling like everybody, I understand.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe sometime I'll share it with you.
No problem. We're always willing to hear. These are my hustle, we're all,
Yes.
we all have. Are you in Botswana?
No. I'm in Boston. I live in Boston.
Okay. I thought
Yeah.
that would have even been really exciting.
I know.
When's the last time you were home?
3 or 4 years ago.
Not easy. It's
Yes.
not easy. It's not easy.
Yes.
Wow. So how is everything in Botswana?
It's fine. I mean, with COVID and everything, everything is changed.
Are you guys getting a lot of cases?
Not. I mean, our country is big. The population is smaller in relation to the in relation, the population is small in relation to the
Oh,
country
so
itself.
you guys are naturally socially distant. Is that what
Exactly,
you're
yes. Exactly, yes. So, you know, we, even our, even our cities are basically rural areas.
saying?
There's too much space.
I get it. I get it. That
Yeah,
that's a blessing in these times. That
yes.
I have
Yeah.
I grew up in Lagos.
Mm.
We are naturally unsocially, very unsocially distanced,
Yeah.
one on top of each other. Like this.
Yes, yes.
So
It's a blessing.
that's awesome stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
no. So definitely like my number one thing that I want to do, because so that's in fact that's why I did the event together. In Boston, our communities are where all this COVID is um, affecting a lot of our members, especially African immigrants. We are we are the healthcare providers. We're doing a lot of nursing. In
Yeah.
fact, the COVID-19, we have another lady. She's Ethiopian and Sudanese, and she's working from Brigham and Women. She's a doctor there. So we are going to be working on how best to do webinars, but I have to train. So this thing, the primary mission now is to train people of different cultures how to do the webinar. You understand?
Mm.
So that they can go to their communities and speak in their language, right? And and then we can record it in their language, and then we can play it for them. So maybe somebody listening on their phone, right, can just go to YouTube and check it out in their language, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, so I don't know. Do you have any communities here, like any like organization? Africans always have organization. There must be one. Botswana Organization of Boston.
Yeah, they do, but I haven't really attended them. But they are
It's okay. Well, you can find. Please just relay their information when we discuss.
okay.
Yes, yeah. We all African always got to have some organization. There's Ghana organization, Nigerian organization, like East Igbo people organization. So even within the tribe, there's some tribe have an organization.
That's true.
So one of our things, in fact, is that's actually one of the issues that we have to stop doing, because in America you have to adjust yourself to where you are. And in this environment, we're all Black people, and we all live in the same areas. And we all, even if maybe we don't live there, the restaurant that serves our food lives in those. They're all in the same areas, and it's important that we drop some of this tribalism and start working together, because the COVID-19 does not know whether you're from Botswana or whether you're from Nigeria.
That's true.
So we have to break down these barriers in our communities first. And I believe that we can use the COVID-19 as a galvanizing force. There are people I'm sure that people like in my area, my upstairs, there's a guy, he's actually half Taino, that's native indigenous American, and they're from Dominican Republic, and also African Afro-Latino, right? So we can barely talk to each other, but we're good friends. We cleaned up the yard together, but I can't, anytime his wife is the one that does translation, or I use my Google Translate on my phone, right? Now, me and him, we use the same, it's an apartment, we use the same areas. If he gets sick, I get sick. It's very possible I can get sick. So I have to communicate this information to him. How do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so because like I said, COVID doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He's not going to say, okay, I'm only going for the Black people, I'm going to leave the Latino people. He doesn't care. So we have to do a big part to bring our communities to begin to work together. And we all speak English, so sometimes sometimes I just talk in broken English. Like I just talk like, like African accent. So when people understand me, they know what I am saying. Rory, you like that when I talk like an African, huh?
I like African accents.
Okay, yes.
Say to the gentleman in Botswana that a group of African American women and I, 8 of us left to go to South Africa, and Botswana was on the agenda, but what happened, and Namibia was having a meeting, and so they wanted some of us immediately. So I was one of the ones that went to Namibia, but I didn't get to go to Botswana. But
Mhm.
other of my friends went to Botswana, so I got close. And of
Yes.
course, I want to go back and go to Botswana. But I also wanted to say that I hear what you're saying, Marlon. I also think, and one of the reasons that I'm following you is because I really think it's important to bridge this gap between Africans and African Americans or Africans in the diaspora. I think, the governments and other institutions have tried very hard, have employed the divide and conquer. And so I understand that what Africans see from us, see about us, are the movies, and generally what they send over, are not the ones of us, not the Denzels and the, the ones in good light, but where we're seen as hoods and gangs and prostitutes. And then, of course, what they showed us was that you think that you'll still have Americans saying, well, do they all live in huts still? Or, this kind of stuff. So there's been
Very true.
a very, um, uh, I can't think of the word, but policy to separate us. And as you said, when you get stopped by the police, you're black. They don't
Yeah,
care where you come from.
yeah.
So it's really important, I think, that and of course to do that, we have to talk some truth. We have to, go back and talk about how we got here and but I know that when we went to Lesotho, we went to Lesotho, Namibia, Botswana, South
Swaziland. Did you go to
Africa.
Swaziland?
No, we only got to go. Uh, we only had, I think it was 3 weeks,
Okay.
3 weeks there. No, more than 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and we had several countries. But I remember that we got to South Africa.
Yeah. So basically, South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, those
We
countries, they share the same culture. So we always say that if you have gone to South Africa, basically you have gone to Botswana. Or if you're going to Botswana, if you're going to South Africa. Yes,
Okay,
because
so I will count Botswana as having gone there, but I
yeah,
still and I want to say too that one of the things is that from everyone African American articles that I've read, people that I talked to, and I know from my own personal experience, when even though it was South Africa, was the first place we stopped, that's where the plane landed. But as soon and every one of us said it, as soon as our feet touched the ground, even though it was cement, it was like coming back home. And I remember
yes,
being in one uh, village where, because we wanted to go out into the rural and talk with the women and the youth and
uh-huh,
exchange ideas on social and economic development. We wanted to learn from them as much as we wanted, we weren't going with, oh, this is what we do here.
okay,
And we learned a lot. Um, but um, in one village, we had our translator spoke Zulu, and she was translating, and she'd said a lot, and we said, well, we know we didn't say all that. What did you say? And there was a reaction from the audience, and she said, well, you have to explain the term African American. So she was explaining that, and then one of the women of the village said, um, no, she was explaining that we were the descendants of the ones who had left that they had been waiting for. And of course, we burst into tears, and we were crying all the time. But it's just a sense you get that no matter where, and that's part of not knowing where we're from. Having our culture taken, having our language taken, and so we've had to build. And so it kind of gives us a sense of belonging to all of Africa.
Yes, the
And
whole
so no
family.
matter where we step, it can be Nigeria, it can be Sierra Leone, it can be Burkina Faso, it
I
can
really love that about you, Rory. How you say that now I can own all of Africa, and it's true.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's true. It's like now you can claim. Nobody can tell you anything. Like I from Africa, the whole place. Yeah, Africa. Yes, Africa.
One of the funny things that happened was we would get people coming up, right? And they'd get right in our face, right? And they'd look at us and look at us. And finally they'd say, you're not from here, are you? And we go, no. And what they were here in America, it's your skin color. But there we realized they were trying to figure out which tribe.
Yes.
And there's such mixture, they couldn't, all they knew was we weren't from there. But we were greeted and welcomed, and my goal is to lay my bones down in Africa, to go to Africa,
Amen.
And
Amen.
dive in.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do now? Let me, because of now we're getting to an hour. What I'm gonna do, just stay on. Let me just sign off and then stop recording, and then we can chat if anybody wants to chat, no big deal.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry to
yeah,
cut
so
you
no,
off.
so thank you everybody for attending the hosting a Zoom webinar on I'm broadcasting on Facebook Live. Like I said, if you need any Afro-American One consultancy and webinar hosting services, I'm your guy. We have a lot of other, as you can see, I really love what happened here today. We're building cultural bridges in the African diaspora through education, technology, and travel. And even here at a hosting Zoom webinar, we've now been able to bridge somebody from an African American and somebody from Botswana, an African immigrant from Botswana, and they've been able to connect. I know Rory is in the South in Texas, and she's over, and we're over here in Boston, so also bridging different areas, So that's what this organization is about. It's about literally we all have the same needs and all have the same skills. So we need to find a safe area. That's what I call this Afro-American area, this safe area where we leave tribalism behind. We leave different angles of who we are behind. And now we are just African. We're people that have the same problem. That's what we are.
Right, right.
Well, there's no different kind. I don't know how to describe the race, but we're just the people that have the same problem, and we need a name, so we're just and we look like each other. That's the same problem. That's the main problem. We look too much like each other. So anyway, God is in control. So please, if you have any, like I said, go to our website, www.aframerican.one. We all our events, we have them posted at aframerican1.eventbrite.com. And yes, thank you for joining us on another great event. And just like that, I'll stop recording, and then we can